She almost didn't walk into that field that morning. If she hadn't, she would have never seen him standing there, motionless beneath the wide prairie sky, and her life would have stayed exactly the same. But it didn't. The prairie had always felt endless, a golden ocean of grass stretching beneath a sky too big for one broken heart. Emma Carter had lived on that land her entire life. The farmhouse stood alone against the horizon, white paint peeling, porch boards creaking in the wind. 3 months earlier, she had buried her father. And with him, she had buried the last reason she believed she belonged there. The farm was failing. The bank letters were piling up. The cattle had been sold. Every morning, she walked the perimeter of the fields like a ritual, as if checking the fences could somehow hold together the pieces of her collapsing world. She told herself she was strong. But strength felt different when no one was watching. That morning, the wind moved strangely. The grass shifted in uneven waves. And then she saw him, a man standing near the old oak tree at the far edge of the property. Not walking, not working, just standing, watching the horizon. Her first thought was simple. Who is he? Her second thought was colder. How did he get past the gate? The land was isolated. No roads nearby, no neighbors within miles. She walked toward him slowly, heart pounding louder with each step. When she was close enough to see his face, she noticed something unsettling. He didn't look lost. He looked like he belonged there. "I think you're on private property," she called out, trying to steady her voice. He turned. His eyes were calm. Too calm. "I know," he replied gently. No apology. No explanation. Just certainty. She studied him. Worn boots, dust-covered coat, hands that looked like they knew hard work. "You shouldn't be here." "I won't stay long." There was something in his voice. Not threatening, not pleading. Familiar. And that frightened her more than anything. "How did you get here?" "I walked." "From where?" He didn't answer. Instead, he looked across the fields. "Your father used to plant corn here." Her breath caught. "How do you know that?" He smiled faintly. He was proud of this land. The world tilted slightly. This wasn't coincidence. She should have called the sheriff. She should have demanded answers, but instead she asked, "Who are you?" He hesitated. Not as if he didn't know, but as if the answer mattered too much. "My name is Daniel." The name meant nothing. Yet somehow everything. Over the next few days, he returned, never crossing boundaries, never forcing conversation, just appearing at the edge of the fields, like a quiet shadow woven into the prairie wind. And against her better judgment, she began to talk. About the debt, about the loneliness, about how the house felt too quiet at night. He listened in a way no one had before. Not to fix her. Not to judge her, just to hear her. And slowly, something fragile began to shift inside her chest. Hope. One evening, as the sky burned orange and violet, she found him sitting on the porch steps. That startled her. "You've never come this close." "I know." "Why now?" He looked at her, and for the first time he seemed uncertain. "There's something you need to know." Her pulse quickened. "What?" He exhaled slowly. "I grew up here." The words didn't make sense. "That's impossible." "My mother worked for your father, before you were born." Her mind scrambled through childhood memories, faces, workers, summers in the fields. "She left when I was 6, he nodded. "Your father helped us more than you knew." The air thickened. Why didn't he ever tell me? Because he promised her he wouldn't. Silence swallowed the porch. "And now?" she whispered. "She passed away last year." The wind seemed to stop entirely. He told me, if I ever needed to remember who I was, I should come back here. Everything shifted. He wasn't a stranger. He was part of the land's history, part of her father's untold story. Tears burned her eyes, not from fear this time, but from realization. Her father hadn't just built fences and barns. He had built lives. He had carried secrets of kindness she never knew existed. Daniel looked at her carefully. "I don't want anything from you." "Then why are you here?" He swallowed. "Because this place saved my family once. And I thought, maybe I could help save it now." The bank was coming in 2 weeks. Foreclosure was inevitable. Unless... "I have investors," he continued quietly. "I've been working in agricultural development, sustainable restoration projects." She stared at him. "You want to turn this into some corporate farm?" "No." He shook his head. "I want to help you rebuild it. Not take it. Not control it. Rebuild it." The prairie wind rushed across the fields like a breath being released after months underwater. For the first time since her father's death, she didn't feel alone. Spring arrived differently that year, not as a reminder of loss, but as a promise. The fields were replanted, not just with crops, but with partnership. Emma no longer walked the perimeter alone, and Daniel no longer stood at the edge of the horizon like a ghost from the past. He stood beside her. One evening, months later, she paused in the same field where she first saw him. The sky stretched wide and endless again. But this time, it didn't feel empty. It felt expansive, full of possibility. "If I hadn't walked out here that morning," she murmured. He smiled softly. "You would have." "Why?" "Because the prairie has a way of bringing people back to where they belong." She looked across the land that had once felt like a burden. Now it felt like legacy, not just her father's, but hers. She found a stranger in the field, and in doing so, she found her strength, her history, and a future she never imagined.